Hi everyone, welcome to CBS 19 Plus. We're going to bring you up to date here with an extended look at our forecast, and what a time to do that. We are starting to enter into a part of the year where the weather pattern is becoming more active, and I think over the next several weeks we're going to start to see a lot more storms going by, temperature changes, coolest air we've seen so far this season headed our way. And in between, a couple of warmer days here and there, and eventually we'll get to Thanksgiving, we get into the end of November, and then things begin to settle into a colder weather pattern. Of course, so far this autumn, it has been very warm. We had record high temperatures in October, all the way through the month, dry up until the very last day. On Halloween, we finally had some rain, and then we've had a couple of bouts of rain so far here as we have started November. There are a few rain chances coming up here next few days. Not as much as we had earlier in the month, but there is some rain beginning to show up. All right, so it's gorgeous outside as we head into Tuesday night. Temperatures in the afternoon were in the mid 70s. Absolutely fantastic. And Tyler, Corpus Christi was at 85 this afternoon. Down in the Crescent City, it was 74 degrees in New Orleans. Oklahoma City, 70 degrees. Out in El Paso, 76. And up around Memphis, 71 degrees. But I want to show you what is lurking up to the north. Remember, the length of daylight is getting shorter. The sun angle is dropping, especially when you go into the northern territories of Canada. You get closer to Alaska, the Northwest Territories, northern Canada. Look at this purple. The cold air is building over northern Canada. Baker Lake this afternoon at 3 below zero. Yellowknife was at 21. Stony Rapids at 30. So what do you need to get that colder air to move southward into the United States? You need a little weather pattern that creates a block, and indeed that could happen. And what I look for are high pressure areas that are set up very close to Greenland. When the high pressure area intensifies, the west to northwest, what we would call meridional flow, suddenly starts to change, and we get these big wavy patterns that develop across much of the nation. And as that occurs, well, you get into northerly winds coming from north to south across Canada and into the United States. And if you have a big area of high pressure, think of a stream, think of a river. The water's running down the stream, and then it hits a little pebble, and it starts to swirl. Well, here you go. There's what the pebble creates, big area of low pressure. Big area of low pressure out here in Canada, or I should say in the Pacific Ocean, and you have another one of these blocks, another one of these rocks in the river of atmosphere. And so as that occurs, you get these swirls. Those are the storms. And so we have a storm coming in next week. It's going to go by. It's probably going to bring us a good chance of rain on Monday. And then it does what we say, it cuts off from the main flow. So instead of having this nice west to east flow, this low gets cut off from that flow. Be out on the backside of that storm. Look at these north winds pouring into Tyler. So this means we're going to have cooler air. It is time to get the chili pots out, the flannel shirts, the sweaters. I mean, seriously, this time we've had a little taste where we've had highs in the low 70s, morning lows. I think our coolest temperature so far this fall is around 41 degrees. We should get even cooler than that, or have at least more mornings where we see temperatures in the upper 30s or low 40s. In the meantime, there will be some warmer air that tries to come back in as that system departs, but there's another storm system out here off the west coast. So what does all this mean for the long-range weather pattern if we're looking ahead toward winter? Well, we know that the weather pattern cycles, right? Every autumn, between the beginning of October and say the end of November, a new and unique weather pattern develops. And so here we go. This is a key feature in this year's weather pattern. Looking for a low pressure system like this that could repeat later into the winter, perhaps as we go into January, for instance. If this comes back, there would be much colder air. If you have enough Pacific moisture going by, there you go. You would have the potential for snow. All right, but let's talk about the cold air arrival. This is going to be November 22nd. So in about 10 days, 9 to 10 days, the cold air makes it all the way down. Remember, because of that blocking and those northerly winds, the jet stream sends the cold air all the way into Texas. Now you get down into southeast Texas and South Texas, it's not as cold. And it's not going to be as cold here in Tyler as it is in Baker Lake and up toward Yellowknife. As air moves across the globe, it modifies It's not moving over snowpack, it's moving over warm ground. And so as it moves over warm ground, it tends to warm up. Still, lows next week could drop into the lower 40s next Wednesday. So a week from tomorrow. And next Thursday, down to 39. So in about 8 to 9 days. Coolest air we've seen so far this season. And look at your high temperatures. Beautiful weather tomorrow, 80 degrees. We have a front coming through, a little knockdown of the temperatures into Thursday and Friday. We recover back into Sunday, 76. Next strongest front arrives Tuesday. That knocks the temperatures down to around 60 on Wednesday, 55 on Thursday, and 59 on Friday. And I repeat, these are high temperatures, not the lows. This is what we've been used to for low temperatures. These will be the daytime highs in about 7 to 10 days. Amazing. And if you look long term, closer to Thanksgiving, just a couple of days before Thanksgiving, 8 to 14 days out, below average rainfall favored here in East Texas, with near average rainfall up to our north. But it's the temperature trend that once again looks like it will be below average temperatures favored all the way up between November 20th and November 26th. So that's going to include next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but also through that weekend, and there's just a couple of days before big travel day on the 26th, but we should see cooler than average temperatures. All right, let's talk about a storm system that will come in as we get closer to the weekend. We have one front moving through with showers on maybe next Monday. We'll have nothing for tomorrow. High pressure settles in into Thursday, and then we start aiming toward this storm here. This would be the storm that would affect us Sunday night, so at the tail end of the weekend and into Monday, and that will start to usher in those bigger changes as we head into next week. Later on this week, something to think about, the November supermoon. The full moon is Friday. It is the beaver moon, and it will peak around 3:29 in the afternoon, but still shining very brightly at night and early in the morning before, or in that overnight time frame before it sets. It's called the beaver moon. It's the last of 4 back-to-back supermoons that we have seen this year. We saw one in October, September, and August. So 4 back-to-back supermoons. All right, Baylor Scott and White, Texas Pine Joint Hospital 10-day forecast. So Wednesday, 80 degrees, mostly sunny. 72 on Thursday, 71 on Friday. Saturday, 73, 76 on Sunday. We get to Monday. Here's that front. 20% chance of rain Sunday. Showers Monday, 74, 72 on Tuesday. And then we knock those temperatures down to 60 on Wednesday for the high. 41 Thursday morning. Just 55 on Thursday. There you go. So you can go buy some chili and get ready. Maybe some soup in a nice pot and have that ready to go next Thursday and Friday. Highs only around 59 in our 10-day forecast. Thanks for watching CBS 19 Plus. Have a great night.